सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु कश्चित् मां दुःखभाग् भवेत् दुर्जन सज्जन भूयात् सज्जन शान्तिमाप्नुयात् शान्तो मुच्येत बन्धेभ्यो मुक्तस्य विमोचयेत्. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery, may the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, and may the free make others free. Om Shanti, 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 peace, 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 people. This morning our subject is Stories of Vedanta Monks, Part 6. 2 years ago I started to work on a book, Prachin Sadhuder Katha, Stories of the old monks of the Ramakrishna order. I collected nearly 90 monks' stories. They are very fascinating and very inspiring. This book will come in 2 volumes, 825 pages I have collected. These materials came from diaries, memoirs, tapes, interviews, and some diaries of the dead monks. We shall observe the monks' struggles and spiritual practices and how they overcame the obstacles of the spiritual life through spiritual struggles. So far I covered Swami Shankarananda, my Guru, Swami Bhuteshananda, Swami Gambhirananda, Swami Nikhilananda, Pavitrananda, Shraddhananda, Sarvagatananda, and some other monks. In the background, in the introduction of this book, I mentioned Sri Ramakrishna is our source. He trained his 16 monastic disciples. 5 of them came to America to teach Vedanta. They are the first generation. Then came the second generation. They did not see Sri Ramakrishna, but they are trained by the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. Many of them came to America and established various centers like St. Louis, Hollywood, Boston, Providence, many other centers all over the country. Hollywood. And it is amazing that how these disciples of Ramakrishna were trained. You see, spiritual life training is the most important thing. What about cooking? Preparation. You go to the market, you buy the ingredients, you cook, but eating it takes only a short time. But how much time you spent in the kitchen to prepare the food? Preparation. In a spiritual life, preparation is the most important thing. God's realization comes in the twinkling of an eye. I shall tell you about it. So, we are the third generation. We did not see Sri Ramakrishna, his disciples, but we saw the second generation. And they told us about the life stories of the first generation, their spiritual disciplines, their traveling, their memoirs, about the history of the order. That is the main theme of these two volumes. I came in contact with many monks from 1950, and some monks gave me their diaries to me. Another thing struck me when I was working in this book about history. Do you know how does the history go? It goes through ups and downs. History never goes in a parallel line. History records those who will be recorded in the pages of history. That is the question. The masses have no entry there. Rich people, some people, they have no entry there. You will find those people who will be recorded in the pages of history who contributed most to the civilization, to the world. Their lives and their life stories are recorded in history. They always do good to humanity. Only those people's name will be recorded in history. We have thousands of monks, but everybody is not recorded in the history. But these people I am talking about, their names are recorded in the history. Next, Charitra Puja. We actually worship character. This is in every country, in every race, in every religion. Worshipping the character. Those who are role models, we worship them. In this country, we really adore, respect the founding fathers of this country. They are recorded in history. They built this beautiful nation. Charitra. Character is built from action, from behavior, from your good thoughts, your service to others, your unselfishness, your purity, your renunciation. Those things help to build the character. I read a beautiful story of Gulistan. Gulistan is a classic in Persian literature. Gulistan means the rose garden in Persia. A friend of Sadi. Sadi was a famous philosopher and poet in Persia, in Iran at present. He was picking some roses and he was telling, I am taking these roses to the city from your garden. Sadi said, if you can take the flowers, but the longevity of those flowers may be 3-4 days, then it will fade. But I shall build a rose garden, Gulistan. That will be everlasting. So he started to write about character, stories, inspiring poems. civility, how to behave human beings, morality and ethics, how to love people, contentment, and doing good to others. So he decorated this beautiful book with all these beautiful things which will help us to form character. And then what happens? I saw a picture in that book. The grandfather was telling these beautiful stories to the grandchild, so that these stories will be transmitted generation after generation. That is the reason I started this book. So that first generation, the stories came to the second generation, then third generation. So these stories should not be lost. That was the main focus of this book. Sometimes some modern people think, what is the necessity of reading or studying the old things? Well, bury the old. No. Swamiji mentioned in his lecture, Common Basis of Hinduism, in 1897, in Lahore. He gave a lecture. There he mentioned that I am proud of my past. I can see my glorious past, and I see my present condition, and I want to see my glorious future. Anyhow, it is a beautiful speech Swamiji made, that how our ancestors made us great. To us, Sri Ramakrishna is just like a snow-clad mountain. Tangible spirituality. If you see the snow in the Himalayas, it has no motion. But when the snow melts, it becomes the river, and the river flows. So the disciples of Ramakrishna are like the melted snow. The melted snow and the snow are the same thing. One is the solid form, another is the liquid form. When you are thirsty, you do not eat the snow or ice. You drink water. That is the way we find these great teachers of this world, these disciples, how they carried the spiritual tradition of Sri Ramakrishna, which we are also carrying, the same thing. Same water which we got from Sri Ramakrishna, that we distribute to people. That is the way I wrote my introduction of that book. Now I shall talk to you about Swami Madhavananda, about whom I am going to speak today. His life story. He was born in 1888 in Shantipur in West Bengal, maybe 60 miles from Calcutta. His father was a famous lawyer, Puri Prasad Bosu. He has 3 siblings, 1 brother, 2 sisters. His pre-monastic name was Nirmal, means they were pure. His brother's name was Bimal, free from impurities. How the 2 names came to your 2 brothers, and both became monk. And both took initiation from Holy Mother. Nirmal was a very intelligent, very meritorious student, and a born leader. So when he was in college, he read Gospel of Ramakrishna. Reading that book, he went to M, the person who recorded the Gospel of Ramakrishna. At that time, he was 17 years old. Read, very inspired. He asked him, why don't you print your diary as it is? Him said, people don't understand. It is written in a very cryptic form, very short. I'll have to elaborate them, otherwise people will not understand. Do you know what happened? This time when I was in India, all those diaries came to Belur Math archives and they scanned them. And I asked the archivist, hey, make a copy for me. So they gave me a copy. I have the whole gospel, Ames diaries with me in my flash drive in my room. From those diaries came that 1,000 pages Gospel of Ramakrishna. So I am very lucky this time I have that precious things. When he was 20 years old, in 1908, he went to Jairambaji to see Holy Mother. And then he was thinking that what shall I do? He felt tremendous renunciation and he left for Madras and wanted to run away from home and wanted to become a monk. Swami Brahmananda was there. Brahmananda, let me see your hand. Seeing this hand, Maharaj major remark, not now. Time factor is there. You will have to go back. His parents sent a special messenger, one of his teachers, to Madras and took him back home. First time he failed. Second time again he tried. At that time he took initiation from Holy Mother. Swami Ramkrishnananda suggested. Seeing him, do you know what Mother said? Is যেন হাতির দাঁত সোনা দিয়ে বাঁধা. It's a beautiful expression. Ivory. Ivory is very precious. When that ivory is covered with gold, it becomes more precious. Ivory is covered with gold. This boy is like that. He is extremely spiritual, very pure, full of renunciation. At the same time, extremely learned. He knew 4 languages: English, Bengali, Sanskrit, Hindi. Master. He is a brilliant speaker, brilliant writer. This boy is just like ivory covered with gold. That Holy Mother gave that certificate to Swami Madhavananda. A ছেলেটি কবি হবে. This boy will be a poet. Poet means he mentioned a Jnani, a knower of God. Then his family again forced him to finish his thing. He passed bachelor's degree with English honors, and they forced him to go for master's degree and told him that you finish the master's degree, then we shall send you to England. You see, it is the British period. Higher education, or if you want to ICS, Indian Civil Service, it's a big government positions. Those brilliant students would go to England for that education. Well, they were planning to send him to England. But do you know what happened? He read Inspired Talks by Swami Vivekananda. Inspired Talks is a very important book. It was 7 weeks Swamiji was in Thousand Island Park in New York. And there he gave that talk. I gave a class on that Inspired Talks in here. That book also inspired me from my students' life. So he read Inspired Talks, could not stay at home. Again he left home and came to the monastery. Again he was taken back home. At that time he convinced his parents, please let me go. I shall never be happy in family life. Please allow me to be a monk. At last they yielded. He came and joined the monastery. It was January 1910. They made him in 1911-14, then 13-14. They made him the editor of the Udbodhan magazine, which Swamiji started. 2 years he was there, closely connected with Holy Mother. Then somebody asked that, do you know what I learned from the Mother? Work is worship. Well, the Mother told me, do you know what do I do? I start cooking rice. It is not American, when they cook, you cook rice. In India, they start cooking rice with a wooden stove. Rice boils. It takes at least 20 minutes to half an hour to cook rice. But rice starts boiling. I start cooking rice, and then I repeat my mantra. Then when rice is done, then I start cooking dal, lentil. Again I go and sit on the step and repeat mantra. He was telling how work and worship can go together. I am cooking rice, I am cooking dal, at the same time I am continuing to repeat my mantra. But if that is work is worship, how work and worship can go together, that he learned from Holy Mother. And also Swamiji said, what is worship? That he demonstrated in his life, that I am going to read that thing which I translated. He got his Brahmacharya vows. Then in 1912 he went to Orissa, Rishikesh to practice austerity. In 1937 also he got 6 months vacation and went to Kedarnath, Badrinath, in the Himalayas to practice austerity. And there he got 2 letters from Swami Turiyananda, a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. I shall read that letter to you. Very inspiring. And I translated those letters. Almora, 3rd May 1960. Dear Nirmal, Swami Madhavananda. I was pleased to receive your postcard. I had learned about your arrival in Varanasi, and I pray to the Master to fulfill your noble aspiration. The goal of human life is to realize God, and God realization is only possible in human life. So it is the best life. Sense enjoyments can be had in other lives, but God realization is possible exclusively in human life. Metaphysically speaking, the goal of human life is the cessation of all misery and the attainment of supreme bliss. Truth is one, although it is expressed in different ways. What is called God by the devotees is named Paramatman by the yogis and Brahman by the knowers of truth. Therefore, God realization, self-realization and liberation all denote the same thing, and undoubtedly that is the goal of every human being. You are learned and intelligent, therefore it is natural and reasonable that you intend to achieve that stage. It is the law of nature that one gets what one wants. The desired object is obtained if one has sincere earnestness and yearning. You have heard that one realizes God when one's such longing that life without God is unbearable. If you can develop that longing in this life, you will succeed. One's inmost self must abide in God. The Master used to say, be merged with Him. Krishna said in the Gita, he who does my work and looks on me as the supreme goal, who is devoted to me, who is without attachment and without hatred for any creature, he comes to me, O Pandava. There is no doubt that one should practice japam and meditation. But there is no guarantee that by doing so, one will attain God. His grace is the only means to realize Him and nothing else. Swamiji used to say, is God like fish or vegetables that you can purchase for a price? Can anybody put a price tag on God that one can have Him for a certain number of japam or after so much austerity? He can be attained only through His grace. And His grace dawns on that person who waits patiently at His door. Don't think that I am discouraging you. Please practice spiritual disciplines more. But remember that you will succeed when you surrender yourself fully to Him. Offer everything to Him and be at rest. That is what I want to tell you. Move towards Him as much as you can. Then we will help you. Do the rest. If one can wait at the Lord's door at the right time, He will fulfill all one's wishes. He becomes extremely pleased when a devotee waits without expectation. Swamiji preached thus, my only desire is to know Thee, O Lord, free me even from this. Chetanananda. The other letter also, you see, when you go to practice austerity, wholeheartedly, full time, at that time, the mind tries to enter into that mysterious realm. Sometimes depression comes. Sometimes doubt comes. At that time we need a teacher. That teacher says, you are on the right track. Don't give up. Hold on. We need some encouragement that he was giving this young monk. 14th August 1960, Ramakrishna Kuchir, Almora, 1960. I received your postcard the day before yesterday. Know for certain that I always pray to the Lord for the welfare of all. I am happy to learn that you are practicing spiritual disciplines in Advaita Ashrama. One finds abiding peace if only he can put his whole mind on God. It is very difficult to do so. But if one makes an attempt, the Lord draws that person to Himself. The Master used to say, if a man takes 10 steps towards God, God comes 100 steps towards him. If these are not true, who could realize Him? Is it possible to attain Him through human efforts? The Kathopanishad says, the Atman is attained by him alone, whom it chooses. To such a one, the Atman reveals its own form. Does this mean that you will not have to practice japam and meditation? Of course you must do so, to your heart's content, to your utmost capacity. But you should know that God will not reveal Himself to you simply because you are practicing spiritual disciplines. The all-compassionate God, out of mercy, will bestow His grace on you. I practice japa and meditation because I cannot help doing so. These spiritual practices should be as spontaneous as breathing. This is the only way one can soothe one's heart. That is also, we also sometimes think, do you know what? He mentioned these things in this letter. A bird sat on the mast of the ship, and the ship left the harbor and went into the deep sea. Now that bird wants to come back to the shore. Very difficult. It flies to the east, west, south, north. Its wings are tired. It does not get any land, any trees. Then that bird decides, I cannot go to the land with my own effort. I will have to take the grace of this boat so that I can cross this ocean. So he was telling the japam and meditation is just like tiring the wings. You do it, and then, Lord, you do what is right for me. Then grace comes. If you do not make effort, grace will not come. That he is talking about. Anyhow, those are the very, very beautiful letters. I translated this book, the Spiritual Treasures, to read on those letters. So, in 1970, just at the age of 30, he became the president of Advaita Ashram, where I stayed 10 years. It is a huge publication department, and the VedantaSTL magazine also is published from that place. That is the glorious period of Advaita Ashram. He started to translate Brihadaranyaka Upanishad into Shankara's commentary into English. Nyaya philosophy, Mimamsa philosophy he translated. He translated from English into Bengali the Master as he saw him by Sister Nivedita. Then he asked Swami Nikhilananda to write a book on Sri Ramakrishna's life. You will find Life of Sri Ramakrishna, foreword by Mahatma Gandhi. He started Samanai, a Hindi magazine. Then the authority sent him to San Francisco as the head of the Vedanta Society of Northern California. He stayed there 2 years. Then he was called back. Because Ramakrishna Order needed a person like him who can be the executive position of the order. That position is very difficult. There are 1600 monks. You will have to make decision about them, their problems, this, that, work, expansion, everything. His decision. Of course, we have trustee board is there. They discuss, but the final decision will come from this person. Sometimes you will have to take disciplinary action against the monks. Very difficult. Once he made a remark, well, there are 2 monks. You complained against him and he was defending him. So he said, same topic, he is saying something and he is saying something. One of them is not true. But I cannot see their minds. I see the both are monks. It is impossible for him to speak untruth. He is a man of truth. Of course, truth was just like God to him. But if these 2 persons are making statements, one of them must be untrue. Same topic. Then he said, I should resign from my position. Why? Because I cannot see the minds as Ramakrishna did. Ramakrishna could see others' minds, I cannot see. So I should resign. He's really a remarkable person, I tell you frankly. I lived off and on, of course, and I saw him and connected with I wrote my memoirs also in this book. Tremendous personality. So he, as I said, he came to America 2 years in San Francisco, then returned to India and became the assistant secretary. And he used to say, Sadhu Saja Sahoj, Sadhu Ha Koti. It is easy to dress like a monk, as you see, ochre cloth. But it is very difficult to be a monk. It is very difficult to dress like a monk, but it is extremely difficult to be a monk. It is easy to become a householder. Get married, have children, you are a householder. But it is extremely difficult to follow the household duties. Very difficult. You have duties to your parents, you have duties to your wife, you have duties to your children, you have duties to your family, you have duties to the neighbors, you have duty to your country. Full of duties. It is not easy to become an ideal householder. But it is easy to be a householder. But it is not so easy to be a householder. Anyhow, that he used to say. He became the General Secretary in 1938 until 1961. In between 2 years he was on vacation for his health ground. Some monks used to say, if he even give punishment, they feel that punishment is coming like God, from God. That man is no vindictiveness, 100% pure, 100% renunciation, 100% purity, 100% unselfishness, morality and ethics. This is the truth. Hold on the truth. Is intelligence, unselfish, real sharp. In 1953-54, Ramakrishna Order decided we shall start Sharadam, women's organization. This is men's organization. Women's convent should come as a different, separate order. You see, Swamiji was very, very particular about it. You know, in Catholicism, you will find the convents are under monks or under the. We in our organization is not like that. Women's organization 100% separated from the monastic organization. Let women make decision. And we have now the Sharadam under that. There are many centers all over India and outside India. They are learned, these women, very learned. They can manage. They are doing. But Swamiji did not want to be man and women together. No, it will not work. Swamiji saw the downfall of Buddhism, downfall of medieval period Christianity. No, men and women completely separated. Why do you poke your nose into the women's affairs? Let them do it. They are quite capable. They have many good leaders. So, 53-54, he and Swami Shankarananda, they initiated. This is the centenary of Holy Mothers. Let women's organization be started. So, he was one of the pioneers to do this work. He is mentioned, today we feel happy that we have been able to fulfill the responsibility that Swamiji had placed on us, as the blessings of the Master, the Holy Mother, are on them. So will they be on all who will have them. As I already mentioned, he worked on many books. He was a great speaker. He was his motto was, work is worship. I remember at that time I was in Hollywood, November 1975. I could not resist myself when I read an article by Swami Madhavananda. Immediately I translated and sent to Prabhu Devarata. This is a magazine. Listen. It was 1935. Grand preparation was going on for the Sri Ramakrishna centenary celebration. One day I went to Swami Madhavananda, his writing. He was a disciple of Swami Madhavananda. Holy Mother's house, Udbodhan in Calcutta. Swami Arupananda, Raj Bihari Maharaj, who had been an attendant of the Holy Mother, had come from Varanasi, and I was to take him to the eye doctor in the afternoon. That same afternoon, Swami Madhavananda, Nirmal Maharaj, then Assistant Secretary of the Ramakrishna Math and Mission, came from Belur Math to the Udbodhan with a file and legal documents. He went upstairs, and after bowing down the mother in the shrine, came quickly down again. Then we three started along Bagbazar Street. Both the Swamis were disciples of Holy Mother, and their conversation began thus. Swami Arupananda: Brother Nirmal, where are you going this afternoon with these files? Madhavananda: Rajbihari Da means brother. I am going to the house of an attorney. I will have to consult him because we are going to acquire some land on the western side of the Belur Math. Rajbihari Maharaj became silent and then gravely said, Brother, do you remember when we came, what we saw? And those who are coming now, this modern generation, what do they see? Madhavananda: Everything is a man's destiny. Arupananda: In an indrawn way. When we came, we observed a tremendous current of japa, meditation, and other spiritual disciplines flowing in our order. Do you remember? Madhavananda: Of course I do. By the impetus of that spiritual current, we are moving even now. Arupananda: Now the present generation is seeing tables, chairs, typewriters, accounts, and files. Can you tell me what force will guide them? Madhavananda: Then let me tell you, Rajbihari Da, that he who has brought them will guide them. We never say follow us. We try to learn from the lives of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. And they instructed us to work for Thakur and Swamiji. And thus we jumped into their work. I know very well Thakur and Swamiji are at our back. They are seeing everything, and they will see till the end. Arupananda: What will happen to this present generation who did not witness the holy lives of the direct disciples and did not get any instruction from them? What will be the fate of this present generation who only working and working? Madhavananda: Rajbihari Da, did you ask this present generation to join the monastery? They have come after reading the literature of Thakur and Swamiji and hearing about them. They have come because of their attraction and they love their idea. So they want to dedicate their lives to that noble cause. What a greatness they have. They will not have to learn from seeing our lives. Their passionate love for their ideal will guide them. Both are silent. I listened to the sound of their footsteps. After a while, Swami Madhavananda again broke the silence. Madhavananda: Rajbihari Da, the water of the Ganges at Gangotri, the source of the Ganga, Rishikesh and Haridwar, is crystal clear. But that at Dakshineshwar and Belur in Calcutta, dirty. Ganges water is muddy. And moreover, so many things are floating on it. It does not mean the Mother Ganges has lost her purifying power. We reached Shambhajar. A bus was about to leave. Swami Madhavananda quickly jumped on the footboard of the bus and holding the handrail said, Goodbye, Rajbihari Da. We moved towards the doctor's clinic. Rajbihari Maharaj, after a long silence, said, Did you notice? What a genius! The Ganges at Belur may not be crystal clear as at Haridwar and Rishikesh, but she does not lose an iota of her purifying power. You know, when I read this article, I was so moved. Work is worship. And we are convinced that if we work for Sri Ramakrishna. That means he loves you. That you got a chance. Many are called, but few are chosen. Everybody cannot work for God. God selects the bodies. Those are blessed souls, God takes service from them. The numbers may be few, doesn't matter. A period comes. I remember Swami Madhavananda. It was in 1953. The great women of India, the centenary volume of Mother's centenary volume was about to be published. He came with a question to Madhavananda in Balloon Mart from Calcutta. We heard. In the evening he came and found that Swami Madhavananda's room was dark. So he waited nearly a couple of hours. Then when the light was on, he knocked at the door. The Swami came out. What do you want? Swami, I came early in the evening, but I found that your room was dark. I thought that I know you are meditating, so I did not disturb you. What? Master's work, you were waiting for me for 2 hours? Why did you not knock at my door? Then he explained. Look, meditation and japam and this work are equal to me. I don't find any difference. We watched him. I remember once I took one letter, it was centenary time. Swamiji wrote a letter to Manmatanath Bhattacharya in Bengali. That letter was translated by Swami Gambhirananda. I carried to Balloon Mart and showed him. Because anything will be published, it will go through him. When he will give the green signal, then it will go in the book. He was the authority of in that respect. So he just quickly read and it is all right, take it back. His own comfort, everything, he will forget everything. What? Another time, at that time, Christopher Isherwood was writing a biography of Sri Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna's disciples. Swami Prabhupada requested him that, he is a Western writer. Whether he is writing, if there are any factual mistakes, please correct them. And you are the person only can do that. At that time, he was the president of the order. I am talking about it is 1964, 63, 64. I was then a brahmachari. And I was reading that manuscript sometimes. Indian Egyptian manuscript I read and corrected some places. So he was correcting. So what happened? The last portion, Swami Prabhupada requested him. So last portion did not arrive. And Prabhupada sent a reminder. He said, I did not get the letter. Sent a cable. Prabhupada was in Hollywood, Los Angeles, and he was in India. Sent a cable. So they sent a cable. They immediately sent the duplicate again back to India. The day it arrived, they said, Master's work. He was not well. He came to America for brain surgery in 1961-62. He has a brain tumor. So what happened? He asked his secretary, hey, next day we shall take early breakfast. Bring the whole manuscript. He started to read. It was 11 o'clock, his bath time. His attendant was signaling. He said, no, I'll have to work. 12 o'clock, attendant came, food is ready. No. His secretary, Swami Pramothananda, he came here a few times. He was in Toronto. A few years ago, he passed away. He was the secretary. He wrote in his memoir. Then at 2 o'clock, he finished it. and then to his secretary. Right now, sent by registered airmail to Prabhupada, the whole matter. That Swami said, I was overwhelmed. He said, somebody is waiting for me, which is unthinkable for him. Nobody should wait for me. He will finish work so fast. Oh, I remember, once you go for an interview, tell me, he will speak very fast. Tell me what is wrong. Do this. You see, he does not want you to stay here with him for a long time. 1 or 2 minutes, that's all. The moment you come with a problem, do this. That's all. You know, and sometimes sitting in there, we sometimes, we say, I need a long interview. It is impossible for a long interview with him. Sometimes he can see what is in others' mind. We saw in later life, seeing hearing your words, he knows what is your problem. And he solves instantly. They call it, do you know what it is called? It is called Vaisharudhi. Vaisharudhi means, at that time, his intellect is fully open. His knowledge, he can focus. With that focus, just like a ranger at the airport, he can see all the airplanes, how many altitude, how many coming to the airport, he can see everything. So his mind was like that. He can see what is going on around. Listening somebody's letters, he can read somebody's mind. So he does not need too long to make decision. Very quick. He was very frugal. He used to see, if somebody makes a mistake, but it is quite natural, human beings make mistakes. Nobody is perfect. But we have come here in the monastery to be perfect. So listen, if somebody, temporarily makes some mistakes and confess that I made a mistake, he must be perfect. We must give him a chance. We must not punish that person. People make mistakes. I remember when I was working in a place, I had an attendant. He is a elderly Muslim. So one day I was telling him, why do you make mistakes? Do you know what that old man, what did he say to me? Sir, only 2 persons do not make mistakes. God and Satan. God is perfect, all-knowing, omniscient. God does not make any mistake. And Satan makes mistakes but does not admit, does not confess the mistakes. I am a human being, I make mistakes, so you will have to forgive me. I could not be mad with that person. But he wants you to be true. You tell the truth. Do not hide. Don't be cunning, shrewd, complicated. Always be frank. And he is so simple. Well, my time is over. I wanted to talk a little bit more about him. Perhaps in one next lecture, I shall cover some other things about him. He is a really amazing personality. When a sadhu, monk, bends head in front of another sadhu, that means that sadhu has something. He was that kind of person. Once I remember Swami Madhavananda, Swami Gombirananda told me, in Ramakrishna order, he is the only person who has the power of dictatorship. Do this. People will do it immediately. It is hard to argue with him, because they knew that this person is seeing this whole order, this Sri Ramakrishna's body. And you see, serving this body, you are serving Sri Ramakrishna. I also, those who come here, I always remind them, when you serve this place, always remember you are serving Sri Ramakrishna. It is Sri Ramakrishna's place. We are all the caretakers here. It is God's place. Anyhow, unless I shall tell you some more his personal, some stories in my next talk. Thank you very much. Atma me shuddhantam jyotiraham viraja vipapma bhuyasam. Antaratma me shuddhantam jyotiraham viraja vipapma bhuyasam. Paramatma me shuddhantam jyotiraham viraja vipapma bhuyasam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May my body become pure. May I be free from impurities and ignorance. May I realize myself as the light divine. May my mind become pure. May I be free from impurities and ignorance. May I realize myself as the light divine. May my soul become pure. May I be free from impurities and ignorance. May I realize myself as the light divine. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be told.